You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
Do you not agree with anything I've just said? You just sort of like moved on from it. Is it that kind of, let's let Uncle Fletch have his little rant?
No, I was
He's
just
had too
letting
much
you,
brandy.
like I've said before,
It's therapeutic.
Sometimes feels like
It's
a therapy
true, isn't it?
session for you, and sometimes you need to get things off your chest.
But do you not feel a bit sorry for Gareth Southgate in that regard?
No.
So no matter what he does in the next 2 years, he could go on. He could now win every single game from tonight until the first Euro 2020 game at Wembley, presumably in just under 2 years' time. None of it will matter at all, will it?
Why?
Because it's not a major finals. This is the point I'm making, and this is the point he's making. The loving feeling is gone, and he can't get it back straight away. That is the job.
I'm not going to feel sorry.
I
for
feel a
him
bit
over
sorry
that.
for him.
I'm going to feel sorry for him over it. I'll feel sorry for him if he starts to legitimately make changes, if he learns from his tactical mistakes, if he makes better substitutions, if he drops players who need dropping, who aren't working in the team, if he realises that this scheme that he's running is run literally nowhere in the Premier League where all of our players come from, and that they need to stop thinking that players are adaptable to go from a 4-4-3 to a 5-3-2 at the drop of a hat. They're not, unless they're coached by Pep Guardiola. He needs to make all of these realisations and make some changes. I'm sorry, the rose-tinted spectacles of the summer are gone. My loving feeling is done with now. I now need to see progress, and until I see progress, I ain't feeling sorry for nobody.
And if he makes that progress, he'll be a man, my son.
Very good, very good. We're not even going to bother with that other story. Let's just move on with life.
I think that's it.
It's best for everyone.
I think so. Kevin Keegan's not going back to Newcastle till Mike Ashley leaves. There you go. Good night.
Bang. Who cares? This is TalkSport. Oh, Newcastle fans coming my way soon. This is TalkSport. You're listening to Extra Time. Ben Fletcher might be here the rest of the week with Adam Cattrall. We'll have to wait and see. If he's still here come Monday morning,
5:30 might be a challenge.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by that cash till ringing at the end. I don't know why that was in there, but all right. This is TalkSport. You're listening to Extra Time. Will Gavin, I'm here till 6 this morning when it is the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. And joining the show now, absolutely delighted to welcome on a man who represented England at not one but two World Cups and won the First Division title twice whilst at Everton. Gary Stevens, very good morning to you, Gary. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good morning to you. This happens on a regular basis.
I know it's not. I've got
to put you straight here, right? There were two Gary Stevens, right? There was one who played for Spurs in England. That was me. The other one played for Everton, Glasgow Rangers and England. So I played in one World Cup. I played in Mexico 86. My namesake also did, and he played in Italia 90. I didn't win the league title for Everton because I never played for Everton. I don't know how many times I have to tell Talks.
My fault, Gary. I do apologise. That is completely on me, and I can only take the shoulder for that. I'm sorry.
And I listened to your previous interview as well with your reporter fella, where you're having a dig at England, okay, and the feel-good factor has gone for you. But, how can anybody take on board what you have to say about football when you can't even get the Gary Stevens bit right?
It's a fair comment, Gary. It's a fair comment. But, okay, so for you, you came off the back. You did play for England in a World Cup. How do they keep that positive vibe going after a positive World Cup performance?
Well, my point to you is, it's your opinion that the positive vibe has gone. I disagree with you. I don't think the positive vibe has gone. And I think the biggest problem in world football today is that too many people judge by the moment, okay? So England did extremely well in the World Cup. They did better than I expected. I think they did better than everybody expected, right? But suddenly people are billing them up as a fantastic side. Well, unfortunately, no, they weren't, because tournament football does allow, average sides to get to semi-finals. And that's what happened with England, taking absolutely nothing away from them. The fact that they've now just gone and lost 3 on the spin, a World Cup semi-final, a World Cup third and fourth playoff, a game in the Nations League against Spain, who are an excellent side, suddenly people are starting to say, oh, England aren't a good team anymore. Well, you have to give clubs, you have to give teams, you have to give national sides a period of time, and you have to judge them over a period of time. And I just cannot applaud Gareth Southgate enough, because he believes for England to be successful in years to come, we have to develop a way of playing which he is developing. And I believe because he's sticking to his principles and his beliefs, he has a good chance of getting there. No guarantee, but he has a good chance of getting there.
Right, but you're arguing, Gary, that the loving feeling hasn't gone. Obviously, here, boots on the ground, as it were, tonight at the King Power Stadium, a much smaller stadium than Wembley, hasn't sold out. For England being in town, the national team, that just months after being in a World Cup semi-final, it might, quote-unquote, only be a friendly. I think any time the national side plays, it should be a big deal. That suggests to me that there is at least a sense of apathy, if not a sense of frustration, with where England are, and that it doesn't feel like there has been a big development, bar a couple of players over 30 not being picked for this squad.
Well, that says to me that that's your opinion. And again, I don't agree with you. People have a choice, okay? I could throw a million, well, not necessarily a million, but I could throw a number of things at you as to why people won't be going. Number one is because it actually costs a lot of money to get in and watch the game. Maybe the ticket prices are reduced, I don't know. But it costs money. And that's quite tough, generally speaking, in the economic world at the moment. People are under a bit of pressure financially. They have to make a choice. For example, it's being played in Leicester. Yes, I know there is a large population in the Midlands area that could attend there, but it is a choice thing. I played with the England side, and there were times when we had really, really disappointing crowds. So I think, again, no disrespect to yourself, I think it's the case with too many people in and around the media, in and around football, who are just looking for the excuse, just looking for the opportunity to have a go, to knock, to criticise, to be negative. And again, maybe I've got the hump because you guys can't get my name right or my history right, but the truth is that you guys spend too much time aiming at the negative, talking about the negative, rather than finding the positive.
Okay, so I accept what you're saying about the idea that it is expensive to go to the football, and tickets for this range from £35 to £55. That's no small amount of money to pay out for an adult ticket. I think there were some £10 tickets for kids for it. There's no denying that is an outlay for people. But I think if this were a match that were happening within 2 weeks of that World Cup, I know that's never going to happen because of the nature of it, but just hypothetically, when the nation was still on a real high. And so that's why I asked the question initially, how do England retain that feeling? Now, the reason that I'm not as keen on the idea of this, very clearly, as you heard there when Gareth Southgate was speaking, keeping faith, sticking to the brand of football, sticking to the principles, is that it showed when I believe England have the quality to be up there with the top tier teams. I don't buy into this idea that we don't have players that are as good as the players who play in squads like Italy and in Spain and in the Netherlands and in Germany. I think we do have high quality players who can mix it up and can beat those teams. But when the system that Gareth Southgate put in place, which was very successful against teams that were of a lesser ability, didn't work against teams like Croatia, teams like Belgium, teams like Spain. It didn't feel like there was a plan B. It didn't feel like there was a progression. And that's where my personal frustration has come from. My opinion, but that's where I think we need to look at whether or not we need to actually not be as rigid with the system.
Right, well, was the system working when we went 1-0 up against Croatia and led for most of the game? Was the system working when we went 1-0 up against Spain at Wembley the other night? There's my question to you.
Okay, can I answer those, Gary? Can I answer those before we move on? We conceded within 2 minutes of Spain, so it's very difficult to take that example. Against Croatia, Croatia reacted after going down and after being dominated for half an hour, and we then didn't react to their reaction. They made tactical changes, we did not. That is a problem.
Well, the truth is that because the opposition make a tactical change, it doesn't mean to say that you have to. They make a tactical change, you stay as you are, and actually, sometimes you go on from there and you win even more comfortably. So again, it doesn't always work, and yes, we did lose to Spain, and yes, we did lose to Croatia. So that gives you your opportunity to jump on the negative side of it again. I just find it, I hear, we didn't have a plan B. Where have you got that phrase from? You've got that phrase from everybody else who uses it. Oh, you need a plan B.
All right, I'll call it something else then. I'll call it something else, Gary. We didn't react. I'm not saying that the moment that Croatia come out and start to feed the ball down the right flank because they've seen a weakness there, that we immediately that second have to make a change. Because like you say, sometimes, sticking with your system, if the opposition makes a change, we saw it with a team like Leicester when they won the Premier League, when teams press forwards, that's when they have their moment. That's when it works for them, because other teams get frustrated and their balls around the back and their pace up front suddenly starts working for them late in games. But when 20 minutes later and an equaliser, it's still clear that it's not working, you've got to make changes then, surely.
Well, that is the decision of the coach. So if you want to judge a coach by results, then across the last 3 England games, the results haven't been, quote, good enough, in the opinion of a lot of people. In the World Cup itself, before we got knocked out, the results were good enough. It's a very subjective subject. I think that the top coaches, the top managers, they have a way of playing, a style of playing, a method. And, sometimes the players don't deliver what the head coach or the manager wants because actually they fall short with their performance or their delivery of the system that's required. So you can't always just point the finger at the coach, in my opinion.
I know your opinion is obviously incredibly valid, Gary, and we're disagreeing on this occasion. I think that this is the crux of it for me, and we'll finish on this because we are overrunning, and again, apologies for any mistakes that were made earlier, but I think that there is a problem if we don't question what the coach is doing because we had a fantastic World Cup. There is an element of complacency coming in there. We can't just turn around and say, right, that was brilliant, really got the nation on side. Let's not worry too much if we lose the next couple of games. I think we want to be pushing on further, doing better, because I think we have the quality, the talent and the young players in this country to win a tournament in the next 8 to 12 years.
Well, I think you've made a good statement. I really do. And all I would say is that I think we just need to be a little bit more balanced with our comments, generally speaking, within football. So it's not a case of somebody scores a goal, they're a world beater. A team gets beaten, they're rubbish. You need to judge it over a longer period of time. And, you take anything, take the stock market. The general trend has been up, but there's been times when it dips down and then it comes up and it dips down. Everybody is fallible and nobody's going to get it perfect all the time. And I've enjoyed the conversation with you, and I look forward to hopefully speaking with you again at some stage again on talkSPORT.
Thank you so much. Gary Stevens, former Tottenham and England defender, joining us here on talkSPORT Extra Time.
But baby,